watching Rogers TV. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Mayor Ken Craig of the municipality of Kincardine. And it's always good to see you again, Kenneth. It's been a busy summer. But before we begin, I wanted to start with expressing condolences because your council had a difficult loss. It doesn't happen all that often. Councillor Doug Kennedy passed away. And from what I have read, he was a remarkable citizen and a member of an important member of the community as well.
That's absolutely correct, David. Doug Kennedy had been a councillor for 6 years, representing Ward 1, the town proper of Kincardine. He had won Citizen of the Year in our municipality on 2 different occasions. Deeply involved in the creation of the Junior C League in Southern Ontario. He was a man that, he wasn't loud spoken and he'd never bang his fist on the table, but if you wanted something done, you made sure that Doug was on your side, and inevitably it occurred. He was a fanatic when it came to healthcare provision in our region and worked tirelessly in fundraising and promotion efforts. So his voice of reason and his, he was just a very professional in his work. We'll miss him greatly.
For sure. It's those kind of people who bring humanity to governance, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And, it's every councillor's wish that as we ponder the process and how we will fill that vacancy, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, boy, I hope we get another person with those characteristics. Doug was passionate and compassionate, and he was a people person, and really tried to look at every situation through the eyes of the person who was experiencing the challenge or the joy or whatever it was.
And as a lifelong resident of the community, he would have that, I call it the long history. Would he be the kind of person that you would go to say, hey, what's the backstory behind this issue? What do you remember? What can you tell us about that?
And Doug brought various experiences. He was born and raised in St. Mary's, and moved to Kincardine in the late 80s and was a great mentor for young people, hiring many people in his Kentucky Fried Chicken outlet here in Kincardine. But that mentorship didn't end there. It extended into the hockey, volleyball, baseball, all sorts of arenas in life.
So what's next for council? Obviously, you have a vacancy to fill. We've seen in Grey Bruce what happens when a member of council or a mayor resigns. Is it basically the same process?
There are a couple of minor differences there, David, but basically at our upcoming council meeting on September 11th, we will declare the seat vacant. The clerk will provide us information on the 2 main ways of refilling that seat. It's either through a local by-election, or it is through the receiving of applications from the public, and the clerk's department will lay out those guidelines and the responsibilities that both they and the council has in filling the seat again.
Right,
One of
and
the options is not leaving it vacant. It has to be, because it's so it's not close enough to the next election. We are legislatively obliged to fill the seat.
Yes, and then all of this is laid out in the Municipal Act,
Yes,
I believe. So
very standard or a straightforward procedure. These are the options, but you will do it.
yeah, yeah, and it's all governed by the, what shall I say, guided by the clerk's office.
Yes, through the legislative department of any municipality. Yes.
Sure. Well, it will be interesting to watch and to see what decision the council comes to. It's, I'm not trying to be callous, but the business of the municipality has to be done. Must
Unfortunately, in
continue.
life, time does not stop.
That's very
And
true.
whether you're in council or not, the loss of a loved one is markedly noted that the rest of the world does not stop. They express their condolences and continue living.
I have a vague recollection of reading something as well that a past member of council of the council in Kincardine also passed away back in June. Is that correct?
Not of this year, no.
Okay, it may have been an older story. So
we acknowledged, like Doug was a cancer survivor. So there were some meetings that he had missed because of treatments, ongoing treatments and all. But no, I'm trying to remember. I don't think that there has been there was a serious illness 3 or 4 years ago that caused one councillor to be absent for an extended period of time. But there has not been a death for a long time in the Kincardine Council, I don't believe.
But previous members of council, past members of council have passed away, and there has been acknowledgement of their service by council as well, has there not?
There have been committee members that have passed away, and we've been I know who you mean. It was Marcia Leggett.
Yes.
Had been a mayor of Tiverton, and had been a council member on the amalgamated community of Kincardine, municipality of Kincardine, and she had passed away. Had not been on council for a number of years, but of course we recognized her service. And just around the same time as Councillor Kennedy's passing, there was another committee member of our municipality who had unfortunately passed away. And we value the volunteers and the people who give their time and service to the community. So we recognize them as we as we choose and as we're able to.
I guess my point is also that we honor people for the work they have done, whether they are active or not.
Absolutely, like it's that old expression, we stand on the backs of our ancestors.
Very true.
That's very true. And certainly the policies, the guidelines that previous councils have established and previous grandparents and all those sorts of things, like we can't underestimate the influence and the value they've had.
Right. Well,
that was pretty philosophical to start a political conversation, David, don't you think?
But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's half of politics is philosophy.
Yeah.
Sometimes
the other half is human.
The other half is human. It's very true.
Yes.
Very true. And I think that's one of the joys I get in this work is that we're basically two human beings talking, and I that's one of the things that I bring to this whole program is that I kind of imagine, Kenneth, that you and I are sitting in Tim Hortons having a coffee, and people are eavesdropping on our conversation.
Yes, yeah, and they'll be. Let's just assume that they will be better off because of it.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. But the other thing I wanted to talk, one of the other things I wanted to raise with you is that the big event for the summer, of course, municipally, has been AMO, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and their annual conference in Ottawa. And that was marked by a number of major provincial announcements. Well, one major announcement in particular, where regarding safe consumption sites, and that caused a flurry of conversation. But that's not an issue for Grey Bruce because we don't have those. But you did attend AMO, I understand.
Our municipality did. Myself, one of the councillors, and our chief administrative officer attended. And I remember back in my early political career, and I would go to AMO, and you would sit through the informative plenary sessions, and you would hear about building codes, and you would hear about policing, and you would hear about all these things in a very general nature. And it was absolutely necessary, I believe, to get the overall understanding of the provincial policies and where we're heading. But when you get into the mayor's chair and you discover the importance and the value of the personal delegations that you have with the various ministries, it is you're fortunate to be able to get to even one or two of the plenary sessions in between the conversations that you have. So our staff had, between ourselves, the municipality of Kincardine, and we worked in collaboration with the county of Bruce as well. We had delegations with the Ministry of Transportation, Education, Solicitor General, Ministry of Energy. Our municipality had delegations with the Green Party, with the Liberal Party. We had conversations with representatives of the bigger organizations that serve our community, like paramedics and Bruce Power and EPCOR and all sorts of large entities that affect the quality of life in our municipality. You know, with the conversation regarding the electrification of Ontario, big changes are going to come to Grey and Bruce County and Huron County. And we need to relay the information that is important, we believe, to the province. Says, you know, you can make decisions, but if you understand the local context, you know, a local meaning, not just Kincardine, it's the county, it's the southwestern Ontario. If you understand that, you will make decisions that are more likely to align with the provincial and federal, not only their goals, but also their needs.
Yeah. It's fine to say, well, we need more hydro or more nuclear power for Ontario, but it comes from us.
Yeah. And keep in mind that Bruce County is going to be, like, it already produces 30% of the province's hydro, electric energy, with a population of about 70,000. Like that's a fraction of the population of some of the more urban centers. And you know, it's not that they're not without their challenges in urban centers too, David, but the impact on small communities is not something that the provincial government understands really.
Well, yes, I would agree with that. That is something that we've heard time and time again, almost as if the view from Queen's Park ends at Highway 401.
We are in this quaint hinterland, west of 400, north of 401. It's one of Ontario's best kept secrets, but as we see tourism increasing, you know, and Bruce County works hard to increase the tourism up the peninsula, but that comes at a cost. Like, there's enormous challenges that they face, and you know, each one of the communities involved in nuclear energy or energy projects is impacted in the same fashion.
Mm-hmm. Your point is very well taken. When we look at the Grey Bruce, it's a relatively small population-wise, but has a considerable geography. which we often don't even appreciate. I was talking to a colleague this past summer who during COVID would come up to Grey Bruce simply to get away.
Yes.
And they were astonished at how beautiful the area is. And they did quite a bit of traveling from various bases in and out. And they were just blown away by the beauty of our communities. So we often take it for granted.
We have no idea the gem on which we live.
Yep. Rocks, trees, and water.
Yes. Yes.
And nuclear power.
In moderation, though. In moderation, it's a good thing.
Of course, of course. But did sound like you had quite a number of delegations to AMO. Were there anything concrete that came out of them, or was simply this was representation to say, hey, don't forget about us?
Well, it's both and. There were a couple of specific issues, one dealing with the Ministry of Transportation and another with the Ministry of Energy that, there was no promises of, yes, we're going to do this. But you could tell as you're having the conversation that there's some aha moments going on. And it's like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, so it's that information sharing because, honestly, we don't know all the plans that the provincial government has either. So as you're able to honestly share some of the challenges that we have, and I'm grateful when those provincial ministries say, we would love to do that for you, but we're not there yet. We can't do that. There's neither the legislation or the funding model or whatever it is. We can't get there yet. We wanted something to happen, and we'll listen to you, but it can't be right now. So
Sure.
there's excitement that something spectacular is going to happen. And on the other hand, there's just be patient because it's not going to happen yet.
Right.
It's that terrible balance of which side of the fence am I leaning towards, waiting or hurrying?
Well, the other thing too is it places a fair amount of obligation on you and your colleagues from the municipality to read the tea leaves, so to speak, interpret what they're saying.
So to that end, it seems unusual that a municipal council would really invest a lot of time and energy in their strategic plan halfway through the council term. You think you want to start it right at the start, but with the changing energy demands, the change in our community, there's so many changes. We have been very intentional through this summer, and we will continue through this fall and into the 2025 budget, where our strategic planning is front and center. It is, early on in your term, you're excited to do everything. But now the goal is, okay, well, it's not just for our term. Mm-hmm. It's the last 2 years, and for all intents and purposes, it'll be the first 2 years of next term as well. Whoever is in council then, but it's, we are, we're out of sync with normal, but I don't mind being not normal if it is appropriate and of great importance and value for our municipality.
Are you seeing municipalities look at a much longer game? I mean, it has been in the past that municipalities have said, well, it's only 4 years, so we've got to start here and end here. But I'm hearing you say, well, it's going to go on into the next term of council.
Oh, absolutely. Many municipalities have like they've had 10-year capital budgets for a long time.
Yeah.
Now we're hearing about 10-year operating budgets and 40-year planning horizons. There was a report came out today about a municipality, urban, but a $94 million recreation center. Now, that's a little beyond our budget these days. But whatever the budget for a new work shed, a municipal office, a recreation facility, like start now because you're 10 or 15 years out for sure. Like if everything works out well, it's 15 years. So it takes a lot of it takes well laid out plans, strategic vision, and sticking to the roadmap, and you'll achieve great things.
It's almost as if, well, I know that a lot of government grants are dependent upon your plans being what they call shovel ready. And I guess part of what I'm understanding is that part of staff's job is to keep abreast of those things and to move those projects that might be worthwhile forward, to frame through a government grant or through program funding or whatever. But to have in the back of be working on 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 projects, some of which are quite large.
Yes, absolutely. Our municipality and others in Bruce County have recently applied for infrastructure grants, and whether it's water, sanitary, sewers, infrastructure of some sort or other, and the intent is they can be shovel ready. They are shovel ready to go. But if we don't get the grant, then it's put them on hold. And they will continue to be ready, but without sustainable and significant provincial funding. Like we can't put the risk or that burden on the taxpayers right here, right now. There's a cooperative financing system that demands that we're ready to go, but not yet.
Right. Which is, maybe it's best summed up by hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Yes.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. And speaking of politics and especially governance, I read something very recently where Bruce County Council is looking at extending the term of the warden to 2 years. That's a bit of a change because it's been an annual election or an annual race, if I can use that word, in both Grey and Bruce.
Certainly the tradition has been on an annual basis. Now, I acknowledge that over the past 10, 12 years, there have been wardens who have, for whatever reason, chosen to remain on for a longer period of time. And I think the report comes out very clearly that there are both advantages and disadvantages. It's wonderful to be able to spread that role amongst as many municipalities as you can. Like it's a compilation of good ideas and leadership from various parts of a county or a region. It draws attention to each one of those municipalities for a specific time. But there's also great advantages to having some continuity of leadership, and in many roles in life, it takes you the first 2 years just to get familiar with what you're doing. And to flip it over every year can make the relationship building, which is so critical in politics, as you would understand, David. Like those relationships, it's hard to make them and keep them and build on them in 1 year.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch that discussion, which comes up later on this month.
Yes, this Thursday, September 5th.
So we will probably not talk for until probably the beginning of winter, 3 months. What are you looking forward to in the next 3 months, Kenneth?
Well, the next 3 months, I think, David, we're going to continue building on the success that our municipality has had in the last year or so regarding some of the housing developments that we've seen started and are working on in our municipality. I think that we will see a continuation of the relationship building between our various small but vital communities, Tiverton, Invermere, Glamis, Kincardine, all those. You work on those relationships to establish them. I think one of the things I was reading today was about the Chamber of Commerce Awards, and when people are acknowledged for the volunteer and humanitarian and outstanding work they do in the community, like those are great building blocks. And I think that we and any other community that desires or aspires to achieve greatness, you have to build not on the back of government, but on the determination and perseverance of individual people, one at a time. They come together, they work 2 by 2, start to collaborate 4 by 4. It's like an organism that grows and prospers. And like any organism that grows and prospers, it gets trimmed and pruned from time to time, and then it grows back stronger and better. So I think you'll see the municipality this fall organizing, creating budget policy and direction, strategic visioning that's going to be in good stead for a long time.
Sure. Well, it's always interesting to watch what happens, not just from the regular council meetings, but also to see what the larger picture is within each municipality, because everyone is different, and there are changes which are happening. Some are very behind the scenes, but some are right in front of our eyes. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very interesting fall in so many ways.
It's interesting to note, if I may, your point is so well taken, because from a public perception, it seems that government works slowly. But when you get into the midst of it and see the work that municipal staff and councillors do, the pace is incredibly fast. It is so much different than just the results that you see. There's so many things going on. So thank you for introducing that idea. It's so
well, if you're like any politician that I know, and I know of more than a few, you've got a very busy calendar.
There are a couple of days off once in a while, yes.
But you do. There's a lot of organizational work to be done, and as you said, building of relationships.
Yeah, community building. That's where the our staff works hard to do the legislative, administrative part, and council members. We are the representatives of the public, and it is my joy and my responsibility to be there as much as I can. So
sure. And you, as someone said to me a long time ago, you can tell the quality of the politician by the support of their family.
I'm still happily married. My kids still call me dad.
Well, that's great. Well, Kenneth, thank you so much for this time. We've just about reached the end of our time together, but yes, we'll be back again, and we'll be talking and looking forward to more from the municipality of Kincardine. And thank you, friends, for being a part of Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. Oh, yes, we'll talk again.
Rogers TV. Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
I've dedicated my life to helping victims.
To seeking justice.
And justice will be served.
We're working as a team.
And that team works most effectively when it works together.
You're safe. I got you. All of us